Chapter 4. The Story of Nelly and Her Dog.
And it came to pass that 4 years had gone by since the passing of Nelly's father. And lo, it was only 6 moons ago that Nelly had finally received posthumous access to her father's digital scroll, his Google Drive account. And truly, it was an inexhaustible wellspring of his writings. Nelly began reading the words without delay, and in truth she had not stopped. She sat upon the divan. Her faithful companion, the dog, leaped up beside her. Soft jazz music filled the air as she took a sip of her coffee and dove into the next tale within the collection. The bark was not a lengthy narrative, comprising only of 6 pages. Yet, after consuming it, Nelly could no longer look upon her canine companion in the same manner. The tale had opened her eyes to things which her dog had been doing. The dog was overjoyed, for after years of attempting to communicate with his human companion, she was finally beginning to understand. Once Nelly began responding to this dialogue, her dog started communicating his every desire and necessity. He introduced her to the natural world and a whole new manner, leading her on lengthy excursions with life flourishing all around her. It did not take her long to realize that the system was not limited only to humans and dogs, for it was connected to everything and everyone. As the days passed, humans began to vex her more and more, with their ceaseless pursuit of fame and fortune, leading them to achieve nothing. Like her father, Nelly had lived most of her life alone, but she made every effort to share his stories with anyone willing to partake. Yet, alas, most were unwilling to read. Although she had tried her entire life, she could never get her father's story in front of many eyes. This saddened her deeply, for she felt that most people she encountered were missing out on so much of what the earth had to offer. As her father had never ceased writing, Nelly never ceased sharing his stories, and in her final days, as she laid upon her hospital bed, she spoke of the tale to a nurse who had been reading. She had built a small family and a group of close friends, and she passed away surrounded by them. A nurse entered the room soon after Nelly's passing to express how much the story had meant to her. And so, instead, she aided the doctors and family in dealing with the passing. Nelly closed her eyes, and the geometric patterns illuminated her eyelids beyond belief. With a great gasp, the light appeared, and she felt a profound sense of peace. Her body released her, no longer attached, like an empty house after someone's moved out. The light came for her, followed by darkness. Yet she was unafraid, and evolved with the knowledge. Nelly accepted without fear or ego that she just simply did not know the answer. And the light, almost as quickly as it had gone, returned. And she emerged above the passage of spirits with a deeply familiar energy flowing next to her. "Well, look who figured it out," she heard, and every emotion within her erupted. A presence she had thought she would never feel again was there, her father. He beamed with pride, for there was no one prouder of his daughter than he. It was a rare and wondrous event, for ascending was not something that happened often, even in the best of the experimental worlds, and to have a family member ascend was even more rare. Yet there she was, ascending with her father by her side. As they arrived to the observation deck, Nelly was overcome with joy at the sight of many energies from her life. Spirits and energies from all over the cosmos had gathered to witness this unusual event. The celebration for Nelly would go down in history. As they prepared to leave with the spirits who had come to escort them to the next stop in the universe, a guide appeared before them. "You too may want to see this," the guide said, motioning for them to follow. They emerged out of the light beam, and there before them was the nurse who had read Nelly's father's story. The nurse had found her way to this higher plane of existence as well, drawn by the power of the story. And then something even more extraordinary happened. Nelly's dear friend, who also read the story, ascended shortly after his passing. It was as if the story had become a beacon, drawing in those who were ready to ascend to a higher level of consciousness. In the next period of time, whole clusters of families and friends who were tied together by the power of the story ascended. And Nelly looked down from a place among the stars, knowing that her father's legacy would live on, inspiring generations to come.